For more than half a century, Al Pacino has played men who lived on the edge. Michael Corleone in The Godfather, Tony Montana in Scarface, Frank Serpico, Carlito Brigante, Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade. Different characters, different stories, but they all shared something with the man who played them. They were fighting for power, fighting for survival, fighting for redemption, and sometimes fighting against themselves. But behind Al Pacino's legendary career was a battle that audiences rarely saw. Before the Oscars, before The Godfather, before Hollywood knew his name, Pacino was simply a young man from New York, trying to escape a life that seemed to offer him very few possibilities. He grew up in East Harlem and the Bronx, raised primarily by his mother and grandparents, after his parents separated when he was very young. Money was tight, the neighborhood was tough, and Pacino struggled to find a sense of direction. As a teenager, he became fascinated by movies. The screen offered him a world that seemed completely different from his own. But acting wasn't simply a career choice. For Pacino, it became an escape, a way to imagine another life, a way to become someone else, and eventually a way to discover who he really was. But the road to Hollywood was far from glamorous. Pacino dropped out of high school and worked a series of low-paying jobs to support himself while pursuing acting. He waited tables. He worked as a messenger. He took whatever work he could find. At the same time, he studied acting and performed on small stages. There were no guarantees, no fame, no millions of dollars. Just rejection after rejection. But Pacino had something that couldn't easily be taught: intensity. When he performed, audiences believed him. He wasn't trying to look like a movie star. He didn't have the traditional image of a Hollywood leading man. Instead, he had something far more powerful: presence. And eventually, that presence caught the attention of the right people. Pacino began gaining recognition through theater, earning critical praise, and eventually a Tony Award for his work on Broadway. But his life was about to change in a way he could never have predicted. In 1972, director Francis Ford Coppola cast Al Pacino as Michael Corleone in The Godfather. The decision was controversial. The studio reportedly didn't immediately see Pacino as the right choice. They wanted someone more established, someone who looked like a traditional leading man. But Coppola saw something different. He saw the quiet intensity beneath Pacino's face. He saw an actor capable of showing an entire transformation without saying very much. And that decision changed cinema forever. Michael Corleone begins The Godfather as a young man who wants nothing to do with his family's criminal empire. He wants a normal life. Then, slowly, almost painfully, he changes. By the end, the innocent young man is gone. Pacino's performance made that transformation unforgettable, and suddenly, the struggling actor from New York was one of the most important stars in Hollywood. But success came with a price. Pacino became famous almost overnight, and fame wasn't necessarily what he wanted. The attention was overwhelming, the pressure was enormous, and for a time, Pacino stepped away from the Hollywood machine. He continued working, but he became known for protecting his privacy and carefully choosing the roles he wanted. Then came another film that would redefine his career: Scarface. As Tony Montana, Pacino created one of the most recognizable characters in movie history. The film was controversial. Critics were divided, but audiences couldn't look away. Tony Montana was violent, ambitious, reckless, and ultimately destroyed by his own hunger for power. Pacino's performance became iconic. The character's voice, expressions, and unforgettable lines entered popular culture. But there was an irony in the success. Pacino had spent his early life trying to escape poverty. Now he was famous for playing men who would destroy themselves, trying to become powerful. Perhaps that was part of what made his performances so compelling. He understood ambition, he understood desperation, and he understood what it meant to want something so badly that it could consume you. But Al Pacino's story was never just about his career. His personal life was far more complicated. Unlike many Hollywood stars, Pacino never followed the traditional path of marriage and family life. He never married, but he became a father to 4 children. His children came from different relationships, including his long-term relationship with actress Beverly D'Angelo and his relationship with actress Diane Keaton, who was his co-star in the Godfather films. For Pacino, family became an important part of his life, even as his career continued to evolve. Yet there was another struggle that followed him for years. The pressure of fame. Pacino became an actor who was constantly expected to deliver something extraordinary. Every new performance was compared to The Godfather. Every role carried the weight of his legacy, and eventually even legends have to confront the reality that no career lasts forever. As the decades passed, Pacino continued to work. He appeared in films that became classics, and others that received mixed reactions. But he never disappeared completely. He kept experimenting. He returned to theatre. He directed. He worked with younger filmmakers, and he continued to challenge himself. Then came one of the most important recognitions of his career. In 1993, Pacino finally won the Academy Award for Best Actor for his performance in Scent of a Woman. The victory was emotional. For decades, he had been considered one of the greatest actors of his generation. Now the Academy had finally recognized him. But perhaps the most powerful moment wasn't the award itself. It was the realization that Pacino had survived the long journey. The rejection, the poverty, the uncertainty, the pressure, the years of wondering whether he would ever truly belong. He had made it, but life continued to change. The young actor who once dreamed of escaping his neighborhood was now an elder statesman of cinema. And then, in his later years, Pacino faced another reminder of how fragile life can be. In 2023, at the age of 83, he became a father again when his girlfriend Noor Al-Falah gave birth to their son, Roman. The news surprised many people, but it also revealed something deeply human about Pacino. Even after decades of fame, he was still entering new chapters, still experiencing firsts, still becoming someone new. At 86, Al Pacino's career is no longer about proving that he can act. There is nothing left to prove. His legacy has already been secured. He is Michael Corleone. He is Tony Montana. He is one of the defining actors of American cinema. But perhaps the most interesting part of his story is what happened before anyone knew his name. The young man who grew up without much money. The teenager who left school. The struggling actor who worked ordinary jobs while pursuing an extraordinary dream. The performer who was once considered too unconventional to become a major Hollywood star. That is the man behind the legend, and perhaps that's why his performances still feel so powerful. Because Al Pacino never seemed like someone who was born into greatness. He seemed like someone who fought his way toward it. His characters often live in a world where power comes at a cost, where ambition can destroy you, where success can leave you completely alone. And maybe Pacino understood those stories, because his own life taught him something similar. Fame can give you almost anything, but it can't give you back your youth. It can't erase the people you've lost. It can't guarantee happiness, and it can't protect you from the passage of time. Today, Al Pacino stands as one of the last great links to a golden era of American filmmaking. His face has become part of movie history. His voice has been imitated by generations. His performances have inspired countless actors. But the real story isn't simply about the legend. It's about the man who had to become that legend. A man who grew up with very little. A man who faced rejection. A man who struggled with fame. A man who found success, experienced heartbreak, built a family, and continued working long after most people would have walked away. Perhaps that's why millions still admire Al Pacino. Not because he played powerful men, not because he became one of Hollywood's most famous actors, but because behind every unforgettable character was a performer who understood one simple truth. You don't become extraordinary because life is easy. You become extraordinary because you keep going when it isn't. And maybe, after all these years, that was Al Pacino's greatest performance. Not Michael Corleone, not Tony Montana, not any character he ever played, but the life he built when the cameras weren't rolling.